Belfast Telegraph did a newspaper story with the headline, "The DUP demand an apology from the BBC over comedians' gay jibes." And then there was an unflattering picture of me. I was very excited. But my agent, Chris, he's always trying to control what I do on Facebook and Twitter because I'm what the industry would call a liability. He got on the phone straight away. "Don't get into an argument with these politicians. They're not messing about. They'll shoot your knees off. Stay off Twitter. Stay off the internet for one day." "Okay, Daddy, I'll be good." In my head, I'm like, I haven't felt this alive in years.
Scottish people have this strange ability. They can describe somebody as a homosexual by using any noun. All right, is that guy a bit of a blueberry? There's a set of maracas over there. English people can do it, but they can only use activities to describe somebody as gay. Be like, "Oh God, he's the kind of guy who likes to leave the windows open." "Oh, Barry loves a fundraiser." "Bet you wear your slippers round the house."
There's no drink that's as relaxing as coffee gets you G'd up. Someone's trying to tell me that it was chamomile tea, but chamomile tea sucks. Chamomile tea tastes like if water got wet. I don't know, maybe I'm being harsh. I like the scent of it. I've been using this new chamomile shampoo. Relaxing chamomile flavour. It's good stuff. I was using it for the first time. It's going so well. But then a bit of it got into my eye. And it stung a lot, but I was calm throughout the whole thing.
If you are a parent of young children, chances are you have already done or said the thing that will be the direct cause of your child's worst adult moment. And the best part is they won't even realise it's your fault. But you'll know. You'll be sitting there at the back of the courtroom, just shamefully watching the cross-examination. "So tell us, again, in your own words, Zane, you took a shit in a mailbox and then punched a police horse?" And your mum's at the back of the courtroom going, "Oh my God, it's because of that time I put curdled milk into his Fruit Loops and still made him eat them. It all makes sense now." Difficult being a parent. Don't envy that job. Do not envy it at all, you know? I mean, I grew up in a very loving home. Very loving parents. Never wanted for anything. Happy pants, hypercoloured T-shirts, Ninja Turtles, Michael Bolton, etc. And yet it's very easy to blame your parents for your own dysfunction. Particularly if they're boomers. Oh my God! What's to be done with the boomers? Too many opinions, not enough computer literacy. They're all getting radicalised by Facebook. No more screen time for the boomers. Internet's a scary place for the best of us. They're all running around in their sensible polo shirts trying to figure it out. Get them out of there! I mean, I find it challenging. I'm sure we all do, you know? You wake up first thing in the morning and someone's like, "Oh, hey, what's your fully formed opinion on this incredibly complex social issue that you just learned about 5 minutes ago? Quick, type it into your phone so the rest of us can tell you to fuck off and die." The confidence of people on the internet is truly astonishing. Imagine the self-belief it takes to tell someone you've never met before that you hope they get fucked by a chainsaw. I mean, what a consequence-free life you must have led up until that point. The kid that jumped off the roof onto the trampoline and didn't break their arm. "Oh my God, you're invincible. I bet one day you could be the Attorney General." I'm at a point where... Oh, get fucked, Sydney. "I'm outraged at that asset." Why would she lie? Get fucked. We have to never forget that knowledge travels faster than the speed of self-righteousness. Like, your opinions are kind of worthless if they're unbendable over time, you know? You've got to be willing to change your opinions, learn new information, adapt, fucking keep step with the knowledge. You have to be more like the algorithms that absorb all of your online activity to the point where you just have to think about buying a yoga mat and one smashes through your kitchen window. And if you're unhappy, you know, just fucking change. If you have the means to change. If you don't have the means to change, that's a terrible situation. I feel awful for you, but you probably do. I mean, if you're here, you know, can afford to come and see this shit, you could probably change. Might be the hardest thing you've ever done. Might take ages. But please, for the love of God, if you're unhappy, fucking change. Because quite frankly, you being miserable is ruining it for the rest of us. Yelling at me in traffic because you married an arsehole, just end your marriage. You're killing the fucking vibe out here. Geez, I can't wait till we retire so we can hate each other in a camper van instead. I've always wanted to yell at you in a camper van. Travelling only broadens your horizons if you're open to having your horizons broadened. Otherwise, you're just the same dickhead in a different deck chair.
We had a boy. Since we had him, we started keeping across world affairs, keeping kind of tabs on politics and what's happening in the world, because we want to know what kind of world we've brought our little boy into. And I've looked into some stuff, and listen, I've got to tell you, Putin, not my cup of tea. I do not like that guy's vibe at all. I'm sorry to use this language. I'm going to use the word toxic. No, we've got to call it out, lads, when we see it, actually. And we've got to stop him. We've got to stop Putin. I really believe this. I saw a graphic, right? It showed a map of the UK. Showed that if Putin dropped a bomb on London, that the blast would reach up as far as the Midlands, where we live. And I saw that and I was like, fuck. We've got to do something. Because I am not taking in Cockney refugees. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
When I came out to my parents, I was sat at the kitchen table with them, and my dad was there and my mum was there, and I told them I was a bender. And it just went silent, and my dad stormed out of the room in a really bad mood. And I thought, oh man, they hate me now. It's going to be weird around the house, because they're Catholic as well. I'm going to be the sinner of the family. And at that point, my dad came back into the room, and then he handed my mum £10.
I was at the beach one time with a friend, right? She introduced me to a couple of her friends who I'd never met before. And we all swam out into the middle of this body of water, like quite deep in. We were all treading water in a circle. You guys ever seen that? But I found myself exhausting at a much faster rate than everyone else. Found out at one point I was about 30 seconds away from drowning. But as this was happening, one of the girls I just met, she was telling me a story about her work. It's one of the most boring stories I've ever heard. But the problem with the story was that there were no gaps where I could explain my situation. Tell her that I was drowning a little bit. So eventually I just went under. The whole time I was under, I thought to myself, I can't believe that's the last story I'll ever hear.
So I says I was by properly, and this time I did it during a stand-up set on telly. And as I said it, I felt sick. I felt like really nervous about saying it. But everyone started clapping me for being a brave girl. They were very woke and progressive. And I was thinking, stop clapping me for being brave. Fuck off, man. It's only half gay, so it's only half brave. I was thinking everyone I went to school with is going to see this on telly and slag me off and say, she's just doing this because it's the easiest way of being a woke hipster. It's easier than becoming a vegan, and I'm a vegetarian, which is the bisexuality of diets.
It's a good age, 40. I love it. 40's the new 36. Unless, of course, like me, you're single with no children, no mortgage, and no responsibilities whatsoever, then 40's the new 27. Casual sex and psychedelics are wasted on the young. Actually reminds me, this is a good segue. I'm trying to tap into the youths, so I've started my own podcast. Finally, putting out a podcast. People have been asking for ages, Randy, when are you doing a podcast? So I'm doing one. I was going to do one of those ones where comedians talk to other comedians about comedy, but I thought, you know what, that's almost too original. So what I'm doing now is a bit of a self-help kind of podcast. You all want to hear a sample? Yes! It's called The 40-Year-Old Fuckboy.
40-year-old fuckboy.
Welcome back to The 40-Year-Old Fuckboy. Is it a midlife crisis or a second Saturn return? Who knows? Today on the show, I'm going to be teaching you all how to overcompensate for that pesky childhood trauma by telling a woman you love her on a first date. But first, let's open Randy's fuckboy mailbag.
Randy's fuckboy mailbag.
For people who used to write letters. Today's letter comes to us from Trent from Glebe. Trent writes, I'm a 40-year-old rock climbing yoga instructor with a top knot who always wears loose trousers to really accentuate my dick flopping around. Until recently, my speciality was luring 36-year-old women from my yoga classes to join me for private tantra workshops, but now I can't stop masturbating to trans porn. Should I get a Kelpie? Well, sounds like you really miss your mum, Trent. You should definitely get a Kelpie. Sheepdogs fucking thrive in the inner city. Coming up after the break on The 40-Year-Old Fuckboy, we're going to be talking to Joe Rogan about the relationship between psychedelic enlightenment and kicking cunts in the head.
40-year-old fuckboy. Is it a midlife crisis or a second Saturn return?
Get it wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Sydney. You're thinking, Randy, you're a 40-year-old, single, moderately successful comedian with ants in his car. Seriously, I have ants in my car. I don't know what to do about it. They form like their own society in the air vents. As a vegan, I feel bad killing them, but...
What kind of man has ants in his car?
Randy, tell us, what series of fucked up, unfortunate events led for you to turn out like this? Please skip over any major trauma and give us a light-hearted look into your undoubtedly sordid backstory. Well, I tell you what, Zane, if nothing else, that sounds like a great way to kill 47 minutes of this fucking show. So here, for the first time in Sydney town, I'm going to take you all back to where it all began.
Backstory.
I was born on the day Lindy Chamberlain's baby was eaten by a dingo. 'Twas August, in the year of our Lord 1980. God Save the Queen was still Australia's national anthem. We were 9 years away from joining the global internet, and "Me too" was a phrase most often used in response to the statement, "I think women belong in the kitchen." My earliest childhood memories are a colourful montage of drunk adults eating corn on the cob while staring into the middle distance. The sound of cockatoos ricocheting off red brick houses. The innocence of youth shrouded in thick clouds of second-hand cigarette smoke. At the tender age of 5, I arrived at St. Mary's Catholic Primary School, where I met my new best friend, Jesus Christ! If you're unfamiliar with his work, he pissed off the wrong people in Israel a couple of thousand years ago. So now we have Christmas and hell. Which, depending on your family, can be the same thing, am I right? I'm doing relatable material to find common ground with my audience. At age 7, I made my first Holy Communion, where I ate of the body of my new best friend, Jesus Christ, who I'd been reliably informed was brutally murdered because I had been naughty before I was born. You see, only the Catholics laugh at that. Everyone else is like, that can't be right. It is! That's how they get you! Immediately following my first Holy Communion, I had my first menthol cigarette. Menthol cigarettes. There's a burning tube of toothpaste in my lungs and everyone's inverted. Catholicism taught me the difference between right and wrong and left no doubt in my mind that right was boring and wrong was fucking hilarious. My proudest childhood achievement is the fact that I was the first kid in the 100-year history of St. Mary's Catholic Primary School to receive an after-school detention. Literally moments after-school detentions were first introduced. The vice principal, Mr. Burke, he pulled all of the students together for this very stern lecture about discipline and the fact that these after-school detentions would act as a deterrent for disrespectful behaviour. And at the end of his very stern lecture, in the silence that followed, I gave him a slow clap. And he gave me a detention. And once I realised that the dopamine hit attached to being a smartass far outweighed any of the repercussions, there was no turning back.
They're my favourite thing to witness British dads abroad because it's the 1 week of the year when they're supposed to relax and enjoy themselves. And they cannot fucking do it, can they? They're just on guard the whole time, just sceptical about everything for some reason, right? My dad, from the second he leaves the front door in England, he thinks everybody's trying to rip him off, everyone's trying to get one over on him, and he will not be defeated, right? This sums him up, my dad. First thing he does when he gets abroad, first thing he does when he arrives in paradise, get a safe. Get a safe sorted. Get everything in that safe. Keys in the safe, wallet in the safe, passport in the safe. These people have got nothing. Get it in the safe. He's reprogramming that safe every night at midnight. Like it's fucking Ocean's 11.
I have an incredibly settled home life, right? And it's nice, but I wish it was more exciting sometimes. And the other day, I was talking to this comedian. She's much cooler than me, and she has a really cool dating life. And she said, oh, so I'm dating Jack and his girlfriend now. I'm in a throuple. Like she was getting a new kitchen. And for some reason, to keep up with the Joneses, I said, Connor and I are thinking of becoming a throuple. Went home that night, was sitting in bed next to him. He's reading the latest interest rates on moneysavingexpert.com. And I said, Connor, do you think, can we maybe get a new boyfriend or girlfriend? You went, which one of your bohemian friends have you been talking to now? What do you want to be in a throuple for? I went, well, maybe then you'd have someone to go to parkrun with. Because I hate it. He went, Fern, I've told you, stop asking me deviant things. You have this idea of yourself in your head that you're a mad slag that loves shagging, when really you just like coming home to me, having dinner and cuddling. I went, okay. Can we get a cat? cat and not fuck it. Just a pet cat. When people talk about compromising in a long-term relationship, that's the kind of thing they're talking about. You start off with high aspirations, throuple, 3 ways. It descends to a pet that you don't even want. I like dogs, now we're getting a cat. Anyway, I thought I can't criticise Arlene Foster for being closeted and not say I've had a few women in my time myself. So I says I was bi properly, and this time I did it during a stand-up set on telly. And as I said it, I felt sick. I felt like really nervous about saying it, but everyone started clapping me for being a brave girl. They were very woke and progressive. And I was thinking, stop clapping me for being brave. Fuck off, man. It's only half gay, so it's only half brave. I was thinking everyone I went to school with is going to see this on telly and slag me off and say, she's just doing this because it's the easiest way of being a woke hipster. It's easier than becoming a vegan, and I'm a vegetarian, which is the bisexuality of diets. And that's how Mum and Dad found out, was they saw me talking about it on telly. Imagine that's how your mum finds out about all that, right? What all that is. That's me fingering an unbelievably tall lady. My mum phoned me up to ask me about it after the programme came out. And she asked me about it the way only a Scottish Catholic mother does, which is by not asking you. For about 10 minutes of the phone call, there was just a series of disconnected facts. Hello, Fern. I made a carrot cake today. Then I went to Zumba. Then I picked sweet peas in the garden. And then there was this terrible pause, and I knew what was coming. And she went, Fern, are you bisexual? Imagine if that was how Holly Willoughby asked Philip Schofield on the couch. The Scottish way, by screaming it in his face. I was like, yeah, Mum, and you told me it was disgusting the first time you found out. No, I didn't. How dare you? Anyway, I've changed since you were a teenager. Because I've seen the musical Kinky Boots. And that changed everything. Isn't that amazing that art can move people in profound ways? One of Broadway's shittest musicals, Kinky Boots, turned my mum from being a homophobe into someone who pretends not to be a homophobe. And I go out with women that are like my mum. They're always quite intense. They're always fucking mental. And I really judge men who say they're always going out with mental women. I think it's quite misogynistic. So can I just say at this point in the show, I met my first girlfriend in a mental hospital. So she was fucking mental. You know, diagnosed. We both were. It was a great match. Her name was Rita. She was a tiny little skinhead butch. We were both 16-year-olds in a mental hospital. You know how it goes in your teens. You read Sylvia Plath, you go in a mental hospital. Rita used to write me these love letters that would open with things like, who's the funniest girl in all of Willow Grove's children and adolescent psychiatric daycare unit? It's Fern Brady. Who makes the best potato prints about her feelings in occupational therapy? On Thursdays with Nurse Linda. That's right, this guy. And then there was a terrible drawing of some palm trees on a beach done in crayon, and it said, when I look into this lassie's eyes across group therapy with that bitch Nurse Fiona, I can see the sun setting on a beach. And it's all because of... That's right! What a cracking lover I am. So Rita had given me this wonderful necklace along with a letter. The necklace was a very classy necklace from the Elizabeth Duke at Argos range. Oh good, some scum get that reference. posh people of Glasgow, Elizabeth Duke at Argos was a range of jewellery where working class people could express earnest emotions at a fantastic price. Rita gave me this necklace. It said something on it like, "Love lasts forever," which in Rita's voice I definitely heard as a threat. And my mum found the letter and the necklace when I was 16 and she went nuts at me. She was like, "This is disgusting. This is vile." I was mortified, like, well, I guess this is how she finds out I've been fingering girls in a mental unit on my lunch break. I like how non-judgmental you guys are about that. Yous understand there's not much to do in women's psychiatric units. You learn to finger bang and you learn to play pool to an incredibly high standard. Then Mum stopped shouting at me and she went, "Fern, what upsets me the most is I just cannot believe you would pretend to like other girls in order to steal their jewellery." Excuse me? Now, a few of you know what's going on at this point, right? There's a type of person who sees the whole world as straight and then they tell themselves any story to get to that conclusion. My mum's one of those. My mum would rather tell herself a story in which I am a jewellery thief running some sort of a heist. Not for good diamonds, not for Chopard or Cartier diamonds. Elizabeth Duke at Argos, £10 necklaces, fingering girls against my will. All as part of the grand jewellery thief heist in a mental hospital. But you see how it happens, because they had a thing when I was a kid called Section 28, where Margaret Thatcher said that you couldn't teach primary school kids that LGBT people exist. Not teach how to give blowies or how to lick fannies, just that they exist. Right? I'm not saying this to try and be right on, but yet when they ban teaching things like that on the curriculum, I look back and think of the amount of utter bullshit that my teachers taught me at primary school. I went to a school where there was a crucifix on the wall of the assembly hall, there to there. Teacher told us that was the actual cross Jesus died on. Why is Jesus 1 foot tall? Why is his final resting place Scotland? I used to like to do this in class when I was 5. I was bored, right? Just move my head from side to side, something to do. Right? And my teacher said, "You know, Fern, that's all well and good, but the brain is attached to the top of the skull and it gradually comes loose, and the more you do that, the more likely it is that your brain will collapse in your skull, killing you instantly." Teachers are maniacs. I had the best year of my primary school career not being taught the curriculum. When I was 8 years old, I had a teacher, Mr. Curran. Mr. Curran was drunk the entire school year. If you're a child, this doesn't register. You just think, why is this adult more fun than all the other adults? Didn't teach us anything, just came in every day, sat us on the carpet and told us stories about walking his 3-legged dog in the woods. Now one day, he sat us all down and he said, "Kids, while I was walking my 3-legged dog in the woods today, I found something very special." And he had a shoebox in his lap. No, he just went, "Oh God." I don't know what kind of school you went to, but this isn't the point in the story where he's like, "It's my big willy! Now suck it, bitches." Get your mind out the gutter, because something beautiful's about to happen. He said, "I found a little badger." I swear to God, he opened the shoebox and a badger come out. So beautiful. Greatest thing that had happened in my childhood at that point. Every day for a year, didn't do any arithmetic, didn't do any handwriting, just had this drunk guy stoating about with a badger in a box. One day, he said, "Listen, kids, I'm going out of the classroom for a bit. You're 8, you can take care of yourselves." Well, I'm down the pub, Do not get Mr. Badger out his box. He's a wild animal. I'll get him out when I come back. I was a very good kid. I never broke the rules. However, I sat next to two very nasty boys, Lee and Kevin. They're definitely in prison now. And I said to them, I love having Mr. Badger in class. I think he's the best thing to happen to primary four. Lee and Kevin turned to me and said, this is hard to say. They said, that's no a badger. That's a fucking puppet in a box, you fanny. Do you know in The Matrix, when Neo finds out reality isn't real? I felt my vision go black. The room starts spinning around me. I'm shaking my head uncontrollably. No, man. Reliving the past year of my life, looking in Mr. Badger's very real eyes. Hanging out with him every day. I said, guys, I'm 8. I'm not stupid. That's a real badger. I said, I'll go to the front of the class now. I wouldn't normally do this, but I'll go to the front of the class and I'll take him out of his box and I'll show you how he's real. They went, you're a fucking spoon. If this does go to America, there's no way of translating that. Went to the front of the class. I stood in front of the box. It took all my strength to open it and look inside. Looked down. 100% a glove puppet on a pile of dead leaves. The whole school knew except for me. If you think my comedy's dark and cynical, that is the moment all hope died in my life. And they still won't teach primary school kids that LGBT people are real. I spent a year talking to a badger that doesn't exist. A week after this, I overheard our art teacher, Miss Christie, telling one of the other teachers, as if we couldn't hear, oh yes, they let go of Jim Curran last week. It turns out he was drinking heavily on the job. And those two boys from earlier just turned to me and went, hi, Fern, guess what? We saw him walking his dog in town. It's got 4 legs. Twist the knife in, why don't you? People in power just lie to you. I think people are getting more progressive on sexuality because I get a lot of younger people coming to my tour shows and they're so cool in terms of seeing sexuality as a spectrum, and I think it's great. And I says to my wee boyfriend, now people view it this way. Could you be anywhere else on the Kinsey scale of sexuality? And he answered really earnestly. He was like, I've thought about it, but I honestly don't think I want to suck a dick. I was like, Connor, no one likes to suck a dick. It's just a polite thing to do.
Got an Uber today, got in the car. First thing the guy says to me is like, do you mind if I talk to a friend? And I'm a normal guy, right? So I said, of course. And thank you for considering me a friend. We had the best conversation. It was so good. He was speaking Urdu and I responded in English. It was a beautiful cultural exchange. He kept doing this. I'm like, that must be a cultural gesture. So I did this. Thank you. But no, I'm good. I've been doing well. I've been cooking a lot. So good. I learned to cook online, right? But I think it's so special that recipes that used to be passed down from generation to generation. I think that's so special. So I got to tell my kids that my grandfather passed me down Jamie Oliver's superfood pasta. Tell them that Jamie Oliver's a province in China. We're from the Jamie people. I've been cooking, I've been eating at other people's houses, diversify the portfolio, you know. I was at a friend's house eating dinner and he cooked this lamb shoulder and it took him 2 days to cook this lamb shoulder and he was bragging about it. I didn't even know that was something you could brag about, like the amount of time it took you to prepare the meal. But I found it to be quite a good excuse to serve my guests leftovers. Oh, this is a 24-hour stir fry. This pizza's been dry aged for 7 days. Good stuff. I love food. I am a foodie. Guilty. Love food. I love coffee as well. Big coffee head. A couple of fans of coffee. Nice. I love coffee, but I reckon coffee culture's gone nuts. You know what I mean? Like, it's gone too far. Because there's coffee places everywhere. Like, I saw a coffee place in a rock climbing gym. Oh, surely that's too far. Yeah. There's a coffee place at my local library. I saw a woman order a triple shot latte. I'm like, what book are you trying to read? Must be pretty tough. Anyway, I was getting a coffee from my mechanics and... Mechanics are like the last profession that there's no regular retail price, right? Like, there's no sign behind them telling you how much it's going to cost. You can't just Google how much a service is, right? It's just numbers swirling around in their mind. Only they know on any given day how much they're going to fleece you. I don't know if you can tell this just by looking at me, but I'm not a pushover. That's not a funny bit. Got a great deal out of this guy. 2 tyres, $7,000. So. He did upsell me though. I reckon he upsold me. I don't think I needed the second tyre. I just went in for a latte. This mechanic, he kept saying the word roughly, right? He's like, it's roughly quite a big job. It's roughly going to take 1 to 2 days. Like, he kept saying the word roughly and he got so in the habit of saying it that he started saying it when he was asking for my details. He was like, roughly, what's your phone number? I'm like, if you want a ballpark, it's about $500 million. Coffee's too strong. This stuff, it's too strong. I mean, I remember back in the day, coffee used to be nice. You could drink coffee in the morning and go to sleep the same night. Like, you could even drink it at night time. Like, you could whip up a blend 43, watch a couple of episodes, and then sink into the night, you know? Nowadays, I have a sip of coffee and I get anxiety and diarrhea. I see my barista and my guts flinch. Having a panic attack in the coffee store, I don't know. There's no drink that's as relaxing as coffee gets you G'd up. Someone's trying to tell me that it was chamomile tea, but chamomile tea sucks. Chamomile tea tastes like if water got wet. I don't know, maybe I'm being harsh. I like the scent of it. I've been using this new chamomile shampoo. Relaxing chamomile flavour. It's good stuff. I was using it for the first time. It's going so well. But then a bit of it got into my eye. And it stung a lot. But I was calm throughout the whole thing. I was like... I don't know, I don't understand it, because people ask me to meet for a coffee. They're like, let's go meet for a coffee. I don't understand that, because what I'm hearing is, let's go do a poo-poo. You know what I mean? It's a 1-hour meeting. We've only got a half an hour of face-to-face time. We're both paying in the toilets for 15 minutes each. All right, I don't know about that one. There was a big foodie during lockdown. Gained quite a bit of weight. At the end of lockdown, I had to go to the doctors for something else, hemorrhoids, and... but But at the end of the meeting, he gave me quite a stern warning. He's like, I'm sorry, but you have to lose 5 kilos if you want to look hot. He said that, and I was trying to figure out how to lose the weight. I was like going on YouTube, and there's all these different ideas about weight loss, and I couldn't like figure out what the correct one was because everyone's like arguing with everyone. And I found this one guy. He was called Carnivore MD, and his whole thing is a meat-only diet. But he reckons it's true because he's lived as a raw vegan for 8 years before that. So in his lifetime, he's had a balanced diet. But it's like, I don't know who to trust. I had to get a personal trainer, and this personal trainer was like, you gotta put down your body goals. You gotta dream big. He's like, think big. What are your body goals? And I was like, I would love to gain 2 foot. My dream to be 5'5". I'm good. I'm doing well. It's New Year, new me. It's Chinese New Year. You don't hear about a lot of Chinese New Year resolutions. Hey? Like, I'm gonna set off more firecrackers this year. As Chinese New Year just passed, Year of the Tiger. I like the zodiacs in the Chinese New Year. You know how they have all those different zodiacs? Anyone celebrate Chinese New Year? Oh, you do? Are you Chinese or other? Other. Welcome. I'm mucking about. I like the zodiacs, but I think some of them, they sound quite offensive in the Western context. Like, I remember when my dad was introducing like our family to other people, and he'd tell other people our zodiacs. It sounds so rude. He'd be like, my wife's a pig. My daughter's a dog. And my son's a rat. You know? Anyway, they're all born in the year of the horse. So. It was meant to be a good year, the year of the tiger. It was meant to be a hot one. It was not off to a good start for me. Off to a terrible start, actually. First day of the year of the tiger, I walked back into my house and I caught my housemate washing her dog with my shampoo. I couldn't believe it. It was this relaxing chamomile stuff. It was good stuff. It was expensive. Like, it's the best one at the 7-Eleven. And on the side of the label, it was like vegan, organic, no animal testing. I had to call them up. I'm like, it's been tested. He really likes it, you know. He used so much of the shampoo, this guy, you know. I don't know if you know this, but dogs, they got a lot of hair. If you don't believe me, think about this. They got bodies. They don't use body wash. It's all shampoo, you know? You'd be wasting your time making a body wash for dogs. They only service this section. You know how they got that shaved bit? Some of you don't know about dog anatomy, but it's a crazy start to the year. It's not been all bad though. Some good stuff happening. A lot happening in the world of television. There's constantly a show out. Always something to watch. I've been trying to work on segues. I think that's a good one. The world of television. There's a lot out there. I've been watching so much. I've been watched all the mainstream stuff, right? That everyone's been watching. Finished all of that. Watched one called Drive to Survive. Not bad. Got to be in Melbourne during F1 weekend. Saw a few Grand Prix around. I actually got to go to one of the races. It was so good, but they confiscated all my banana peels. I don't know. I watched all the mainstream stuff. Squid Game. I was in that. Played the little girl. Watched all the mainstream stuff. Then I had to start watching the niche stuff because there's nothing else left. I had to watch the niche ones. I started watching one called Old People's Home for 4-year-olds. If you don't know what the premise of this show is, it's a crazy show. What they do is they pair up these old people, right? And these old people, they got depression. They've had depression their whole lives, and nothing's been able to solve it. So in a last-ditch attempt, they pair them up with 4-year-olds in order to cure them. A lot of pressure on the 4-year-olds. I mean, these kids, they've lived 3 years of their life. On the 4th year, TV producers come up to them, said, "Do you want to be a psychologist?" It's kind of crazy, but I was watching movies as well. Last movie I watched before the coronavirus... You guys know what I'm talking about. Coronavirus pandemic happened. The last film I watched was one called Uncut Gems. I saw that in the cinemas. Blew my mind, this film. This was amazing. High-octane Adam Sandler movie. I was taken aback by this movie. Beautiful stuff. As soon as the movie ended, I'm like, that's the best movie I've ever seen. I thought that. And then the credits started to roll, and I was sitting next to an old lady, and all she said was, there was a lot of yelling. And normally I wouldn't have said anything, like I let people have their opinions, but the movie, it affected me so much that I had to say something, you know? I turned to her, I was like, I wouldn't have had to if you give me some of your popcorn like I asked. It's me doing the yelling. But I watched that movie Little Women. Watched it on my iPhone. Get those women even littler. It's so small, couldn't believe it. I'm on the iPhone, I'm mucking about on there. I'm always trying to be ahead of the tech game. Do you know what I mean? You have to be one step ahead because you don't know what they're going to do to you. I'm trying to be ahead of big tech. I was like born into the computer era, you know? I thought I'd be always good with computers. Like I thought I could do computers forever. 5 years old, that's the first time I ever went on a computer and I was like, I'm good at this. Like I knew what to do on there. Like I knew which ads not to click on, like which blokes not to talk to. I was safe on there. I had Norton antivirus running on full blast. I'm like, I'll never get aged out of this. That was my thought. I'm 27 years old now. Like I've already been aged out. Can't believe it. Nowadays, I log on to Google Chrome. It's saying I got 280 compromised passwords. I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, I'm not about to change 280 passwords. I'd rather just change my life. Like, I'll be someone else, I reckon. They reckon you got to have a unique password for every website. I'm like, I don't even remember my dad's birthday. And that's my password, like... I don't know. They don't honour passwords anymore, either. They don't respect passwords. I've started to notice that. It's kind of creeping into society, this disrespect for passwords. Because back in the day, you go onto a website, you type your password in, and they'd be like, yeah, we've heard that. Like, we honour that, come on in, yeah. Explore the possibilities. They don't honour passwords anymore. You ever tried logging into your email from someone else's computer? You ever did that? They don't let you in anymore. They send you a text. You got to print that text out, get your dad to sign it. He takes it into the mayor, right? The mayor shows you 9 unique images. You got to tell him which one's got a street sign in it. I don't understand the logic behind this. Because you're telling me, like, a computer hacker, they've gone to school for 3 years, but they don't know what a street sign looks like. Blows my mind. At the bottom, like, the reason it says, prove you're not a robot. And it's like, I don't know whether or not I am a robot, but I know for sure that you are a robot. You're a website. So what's it to you? What's this self-hating robot doing guarding this page? If anything, you should be letting me in. You should say, prove you are a robot. I don't know, it didn't affect me too much, this whole password thing, until I was living in this share house and it was in a reception dead zone. Like, you couldn't get any bars of reception in the house, and what that meant was I could log into the email, but I couldn't get the text. It's a nightmare. I had to walk out of my house to get reception. By the time I could get one bar of reception, I was already halfway down the street, almost at the post office. I'm like, I may as well send this email as a letter. I'm like, dear Father, thank you so much for the video. I'm also suspicious of the vaccine. I mean, I want to get it taken out of me. I'm just kidding. I believe whatever you guys believe. That's good stuff. I don't know, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Normally, comedians will wait for like a big laugh or applause break to drink water. But an opportunity has not yet presented itself. No, I'm doing good.
I got in a relationship during COVID, and I met my boyfriend through a friend, but it wasn't like in a gay bar or on Grindr. Gay bars in Glasgow, though, like, they tend to be more intimidating than in other cities. Like, if you go to a gay bar in Glasgow and you drop your phone, you're just gonna have to kick it home. The thing is, it's also like during lockdown, it's a difficult time to get in a relationship because you're trapped in the same house. It's like The Shining every single day. And we had arguments, because every couple argues, unless you're creepy. You know those couples that you meet, they never argue, and they glide up to you at parties being like, we never ever argue. You're looking at them and you're thinking, one of you is going to be on the news someday. But I'm trying to do that as well. Also, because, like, you know what? By the way, in case any straight people are wondering, because a lot of my straight mates are like, oh, you're in a relationship with another guy. Oh, man, that must be better. You must just watch football and bum all day. It's like, no, I wish. Every relationship has the exact same dynamic. Whether you're gay or straight, it's always the same dynamic. Every relationship is always made up of an organised person and a disorganised person. And I can see who's in a relationship because you're now looking at each other going, you'd be living in a bin if it wasn't for me. The reason why you get together is because organised people are attracted to disorganised. Because the first time they see them, they fall for a trick. Because they go, wow, they're so laid back. They must have everything organised. And then a few months passes, the smoke screen leaves you, and you're just left going, how are you not dead yet? And by this point, it's too late, because you're thinking, I wonder if I should break up with them, because I thought they'd be organised, but in fact they're disorganised, and I'm having to organise my life and their life. I'm exhausted, I haven't slept ever since I met them. Oh my, maybe I should break up with them. I can't break up with them. I've made plans for us both. It's going to totally ruin that spreadsheet I made for us. But I'm the disorganised one in the relationship. You probably can tell. Big surprise. But you can usually tell, if you can't tell which one you are, organised people usually give themselves away in an argument, right? Because if you're like, right, organised people, by the way, I love you. But you're organised. No, I need you. I need you in my life. But when organised people are in arguments, and I'm sorry for this next bit, but in arguments, you're so sweet. I don't want to say anything bad about organised people, and please do. Okay, cool. Fucking bitch. You're American as well, yeah? Oh, cool. I could hear from your accent. Yeah, I know. I love as well. I called you a bitch and you laughed and you're almost in a kind of American kind of thing of, oh my God, Scottish culture. Come on, get on with it and call me a cunt. Come on. In arguments, organised people have this ability that freaks disorganised ones out. In an argument, organised people do the thing of they don't have to argue about things at the time. They can store them up. It's almost like they've got a box in their brain. Oh, I didn't like that comment there. It's not big enough for an argument now, though. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the comment that you just said, I'm gonna put it into this box, and then when we have a big argument, that'll be the ammo. There's no room for context in the box, I'm afraid. Intent doesn't fit in there either. I get used to the thing of being in a relationship because I've been single for like a year and a half, and that's what I want. I was like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I want to get called special by somebody and them not do the air quotes. Oh man, there's one thing you have to learn in a relationship, I've noticed, is when your partner comes home from work and tells you about their day. That's fine. Don't mind that at all. But you know when they start telling you about the person that they work with that they don't like? And the number one rule is you have to take your partner's side. Even though the other person is probably right. But in order for you to take your partner's side, your partner, when they're quoting that other person, will give them the bitchiest voice ever. They'll be like, oh God, you never guess what Sandra said to me today. I was like, hi Sandra, can you please take your stuff out of the fridge? Because it is actually my fridge. And you wouldn't believe what Sandra said to me then. She was all like, that's my injections and I've got diabetes. And I was like, oh, but Sandra, please, it's getting in the way of my sticky toffee pudding. It's inconvenient. And you wouldn't believe what Sandra said then. She was all like, excuse me, I don't want to die today. And you're listening to this, and you're thinking, if you were to read the transcript of that conversation, you'd be like, I think Sandra had a point here. But you can't say that, because who knows what voice they would give to you. That's one of the main rules of the relationship. I never expected as well to go out with a posh person with a job. Well, my mum's very posh. She's a posh Scot. My mum talks like this. If you have heard a posh Scot talk before, it is like this. So my mum sounds like a whale. She's one of those posh people that don't seem to have any bones. Like, you know the ones you see them like gliding through Waitrose, like. I have to do that again because you won't know what Waitrose is in America. Gliding through the mall. My mum's so I love her laugh though, right? Her laugh's amazing. And I know you're not going to think it's that amazing compared to other ones we've heard tonight. Amazing if it was actually just somebody with a YouTube video on repeat of just somebody falling down a well. Just turn the lights on, it's just a truck reversing. But my mum's laugh is so funny, right? Because she only ever gives you one ha, and then her voice is extraordinary. It's just hee. So easy to find her at a party. Hee. Say that's your mum or a carbon monoxide detector. Sometimes you get a few ha's off of her. She'll be going, hee, 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 hee. I can never find her at the supermarket. I've only ever seen my mum like laugh her head off a few times. All the ha's come together very quickly. Like, hee. My dad was sat next to me and goes, Jesus, Mary, you sound like a metal detector. My dad's working class. I actually don't know what I am because my dad raised me working class in a middle class household. Basically, we had a cleaner, but we stole from her. But they are very funny. They've got good banter, my parents. Like, you know that mate, right? My parents are this, right? You know that mate that if they think you're wrong about anything, they'll bet you £10 on it. Being like, oh no, mate, you're completely wrong. Bet you a tenner. They bet on elections, which makes it more interesting when it's not going your way. At least, like, they always vote Conservative though. And obviously, I'm not a fan, right? And I did try and change my mum's mind. I was like, Mum, why are you voting Conservative? And Mum was like, well, Larry, when you get older, you become more right-wing. That's why I think the Conservatives never win in Scotland. We do not live long enough. But they are very Catholic, though. That's probably why they vote that way, because my mum and dad are Catholic, and I'm Catholic as well. And obviously not a good Catholic now. Now I'm just an overqualified altar boy. So I hope I didn't offend any pedos in the audience with that joke there. It's something you have to worry about is offending people now, isn't it? You have to worry about offending them. And the thing is, I actually wanted to be a squeaky clean comedian for a long time. Genuinely, I really wanted to. All right, I can do it now. Right, hold on. I wanted to be this guy. Right, here we go. All right, here we go. I wanted to be this comedian. I wanted to be a London observational comedian. I tell you what's busy, guys. The underground. Where is everybody going? You could take your car, couldn't you? But a congestion charge. Get lost. Well, I was in King's Cross the other day, and I was like, King's Cross? Why doesn't the Queen cheer him up then? London observational comic. Hope you enjoyed him. He'll be back later. By the way, Scottish people, do you know that English people tend to think we're backwards? It's so weird, because when I moved down to England, loads of Londoners were like, oh my God, have you just moved down from Glasgow to London to escape homophobia? Are you a gay refugee in London? As the Scottish people are not homophobic, we've got a rule in this country. It's either you're a good cunt or a bad cunt. Your race, your gender, your sexual orientation doesn't play a part in it. But if you try and make that play a part in somebody else, you're a bad cunt. That's how we work it. It's a really simple system. I think, though, Scottish people just love proving other people wrong. We love it so much. I think we probably used to be homophobic, and then somebody told us that we were. We're like, all right, you think we're homophobic? I'm going to have sex with this man just to prove England's wrong. Oh, flower of Scotland, and will we see... We don't even need to use the word gay in Scotland. We've got... Scottish people have this strange ability. They can describe somebody as a homosexual by using any noun. All right, is that guy a bit of a blueberry? There's a set of maracas over there. English people can do it, but they can only use activities to describe somebody as gay. Be like, oh God, he's the kind of guy who likes to leave the windows open. Oh, Barry loves a fundraiser. Bet you wear your slippers round the house. I moved down to England a long time ago. I moved back, I had to live with my parents again, and oh man, the banter was too much. I had to move out again. See, living with my mum, that's the thing, right? My mum would take the piss out of me, which I'm fine with, because I'd make fun of her voice, because me and my mum don't always see eye to eye, because hers at the side of her head. Whale joke. But my mum loves making fun of my stammer. I've got a stammer. Sometimes I have it. It just comes out randomly. It tends to be why I'm good at doing voices, because I had to cover up my stammer for ages. And my mum loves the fact I've got a stammer. I was on the phone to her yesterday, right, and she was at the shops. I was like, Mum, are you at the shops? I was like, yeah, I'm at the shops. What do you want? It's like, can you get me a sandwich and a muffin? Okay, I'll get you a sandwich and 23 muffins.
But since having my little lad, I've had to be responsible. You know, you've got to be a responsible adult, responsible parent. Any parents in? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's stressful. It's stressful, not for me, for my little boy. Very stressful being a baby, very stressful. His socks just fall off all day. Just random throughout the day, look down, oh, his socks are off again. Imagine what that would do to you as adults if that was happening to you. Your mental health would be in the toilet if you were going through that. I'm amazed, is it more babies' first words when they learn to speak? What the fuck's going on with these socks? Seriously. It's mad being a baby. My little boy's 13 months old. He's got 3 xylophones. Why does anybody need 3 xylophones? There's professional xylophone players with less xylophones than this kid. I said to my wife, why has he got 3 xylophones? She goes, oh, he likes to play one in the bath. Yeah, of course, it's like some kind of fucking eccentric billionaire. What is going on here? We can put 2 of them away. Surely we can put 2 of them away. It's great, I'm loving having him. We tried for a long time to have a baby, me and my wife, we tried for years and years and years. We didn't think it was going to happen for us, and it nearly broke us up. It was a very difficult time, but he's here now, and it's amazing. His birth was incredible. I'll never forget his birth for as long as I live. There's only a few things that I'll remember vividly forever in my life. One is the birth of my little boy. The other thing I'll never forget where I was when I heard the news that Michael Jackson had died. Now, it was Glastonbury Festival, 2018, which is a full 9 years after his death. I don't know how I missed that. That's on me. That's an oversight on my part. I'll accept that. We started trying in 2016. My wife turned to me on the settee one evening and she goes, Josh, I want to try for a baby. And I said, I want to try for a baby as well. Together? Yeah, perfect. Let's do it. result. Because we've been together a long time at that point, and we've been together for years and years, and when you get with somebody really young, you can't really imagine what it'd be like to be with them for years and years. I tell you what I mean, we went out for quite a posh lunch recently at a very fancy restaurant, if I do say so myself. And the young guy that's letting us in, he's about maybe 18, 19, this lad, and we hadn't booked, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This young guy, he looks around the restaurant, he goes, I can squeeze you in, but we'll need the table back by 5. What the fuck do you think we're going to be speaking about for 4 hours in a Las Iguanas? You do your bit, mate. It's back in 15 minutes. Just get us in there. She hates going for food with me. My wife hates going out for dinner with me. She keeps telling me at the minute, right, like I've got ADHD. She keeps saying to me, Josh, you've got ADHD. I think you've got ADHD. I think you should get tested. I think you've got ADHD. Yeah, well, I think that's a very arrogant thing to tell somebody they've got if you're not a doctor. Like, let's break that down for a second. Like, you've told me a story. I've lost interest in that story. And your first thought is that I must have some kind of psychological condition. The arrogance of that. Like, can we maybe work on your storytelling skills before we put me on mind-altering medication? Should we try that first? I'll tell you the truth, I'm not a good husband. I'm not a good husband, I'll be honest. I'm not unfaithful or controlling, but I am incompetent, and that can really break a person over the years. I don't know what this says about me, right, but I'm not my wife's emergency contact. It's not a great sign, that, is it? I just make mistakes. That's all it is. I just make mistakes in our marriage. The worst mistake I've made in our marriage, right, was actually during one of the lockdowns. Now, my wife works in a school. Her favourite dinner in the whole world is beef stew in the slow cooker. Very exotic woman. That's her favourite dinner. One day, she gets up early to go to work. She puts this beef stew into the slow cooker. She goes out to work. She texts me at lunchtime saying, can't wait for this beef stew. Really looking forward to it. Gets in, 5 o'clock in the evening, rubbing her hands together. Can't wait for this beef stew. Been looking forward to this all day. What neither of us realised was that at about 12 o'clock that day, I'd accidentally unplugged the slow cooker so that I could plug in Alexa to ask how old Ronan Keating is. She was fucking livid. She's like, what were you thinking? I was like, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s. Yeah. He's 47, I've got to tell people. That's one of my favourite things to do, actually, is to listen to music. I take my little boy into the kitchen, we put Alexa on, and we dance to a song until he falls asleep. It's magic. He's a 13-month-old white boy from the middle of England. His favourite song, of course, is In the Club by 50 Cent. You know that one? You know that one? Yeah, you're a fiddy crowd, I can tell. Now, did you know, right, that in that song, 50 Cent is singing, you'll find me in the club, bottle full of bub, as in bubbles, as in champagne. Give me a cheer if you knew that. Yeah. Give me a cheer if you thought it was, you'll find me in the club, bottle full of bud. Yeah, me too. As if that is something that a millionaire rapper would be bragging about. That's right, ladies. Full bottle of Budweiser over here. You want some scratchings? Pretty you get some scratchings, don't worry about that. It's when I try and help. That's when it goes wrong for me, when I try and be a good person, when I try and be helpful. I was getting the train recently, right, and the train was early, I was early, I thought I'd get on the train, right. On the train, there's me and one other guy. Now, this other guy, he's blind. He can't see anything at all. And as I've gone past him, he sort of sensed me. He's gone, oh, excuse me, mate, can you show me where the toilet is? I don't know where to go. I'm like, yeah, of course. So he puts his hand on my shoulder. I walk him down to the toilet. It's one of those, you know, like the curvy, like bread bin, like blind date toilets. I usher this guy inside. He immediately starts taking down his trousers and pants. Now, this guy's blind, so he doesn't stand up and piss. It's easier for him if he sits down. What he doesn't know is, though, the door hasn't closed behind him. And there's no button on the outside for me to press it for him. What can I do in that situation there? I don't want to say something and make him feel embarrassed. I can't go in and press the button for him, because I'll be stuck in there with him. I don't want to walk off and leave the guy because he won't be able to get back to his seat. So I end up just standing there. People now start getting on the train. Now, bear in mind, they haven't seen the first bit, have they? They don't know that this guy can't see anything. To them, it looks like I've arrived early to watch a guy shit and that he is completely fine with it. Never help anybody. That's my message. Never help anybody. 2016, we start trying for a baby. 2017, we're loving trying for a baby. It's good fun, good stuff at first. You know how it works. It's good stuff. Got a few apps, and at that point, we could never imagine a world where me and my wife aren't together, so we got together very young. I was single for a little bit before I met her, went on a few dates, hated it. I used to get the ick. Heard of this thing, the ick? The ick's when somebody does something, it just makes you feel funny, it puts you off them. Had it once, right? I was out for a meal with a girl one evening. Halfway through the meal, this girl looks me dead in the face. She goes, "Josh, I don't find you attractive. I don't like your personality. And I can see no future with you whatsoever." And I was like, ugh. Do you know what I mean? There was something about that, and I was like, no, that's a red flag for me, yeah. That's alarm bells when someone says that. I will pick up on that, and I'll be like, whoa. Even my wife, when I first met my wife, she didn't like me at first. Didn't fancy me one little bit. But I ground her down, and now we're married. And people forget you can do that. Like, that is an option, do you know what I mean? Like, if you like somebody and they don't like your back, don't just give up straight away. Like, don't get weird about it. If you find yourself going through the bins, that's too far, she said. But like my generation especially, we're obsessed with this idea of fate, this notion of fate. Like, you hear it all the time, don't you? If it was meant to happen, it'll happen. But come on, we've got more control over our lives than that, surely. Like, if you're in the supermarket shopping with your kid and your kid wanders off, you'd go and look for it, you'll be like, guess it just wasn't meant to be. Just carry on shopping. You get back, your partner's like, where's the kid? Just didn't work out. Yeah. Right person, wrong time. We go again, we move forward. We're a great match, me and my wife. We're like yin and yang. That's what I'd say. If you're going to have a baby with somebody, ideally you want it to be with somebody you're in love with, but also somebody that can bring things to the table that you can't bring. I'm quite a negative person. My wife is a very happy person. She does not worry about anything. My wife, she's not anxious. She doesn't worry about anything. She goes to sleep at night straight away. Like, we go to bed, her head hits a pillow, she's gone. And it fucking freaks me out. I'm like, have you got nothing you need to reflect on at all? 10 out of 10 today for you, was it? 100%. Okay, you get your head down. Yeah, no problem. No, you get some rest. I'll stay up worrying about the cost of living alone. Don't worry, you get your head down. Do not worry about that. She doesn't worry about the cost of living, doesn't worry about anything like that. This is a fact, right, that sums her up. Right? So since the cost of living's come in, I've stopped using the dishwasher so much, stopped putting the tumble dryer in all the time. She has started leaving the radio on for the dog when we go out in case he gets lonely. That's lovely, isn't it? That's a lovely thing, but it's costing a fucking fortune. I wouldn't mind, but he started texting in, entering competitions, and that's a joke.